Hello and welcome to SoulWhat, Soultopia podcast with our producer, Matt Stoker. I'm Michelle Welch.
And I'm Roger Welch. And today we are actually going to interview Michelle. Yay. So her new book just came out. And for those who have not heard, Michelle is the author of The Magic of Connection, published by Llewellyn Worldwide. She is also owner of 2 Soultopia metaphysical stores in Dallas, Texas, where she offers intuitive readings and healing sessions in addition to teaching classes on crystals, tarot, energy work, and intuition. A reformed attorney, Michelle is still an active attorney, actually licensed in the state of Texas, and has lent her intuitive abilities to numerous court cases. She is the host of the SoulWhat podcast, welcome, and Soultopia YouTube channel. She is also an ordained minister and holds many certificates in various divinations and healing modalities. She has also been seen on CBS News, Inside Edition, The Jenny McCarthy Show, T Love's Blog Talk Radio, The Morning After, Good Morning Texas, and much, much, much more to come. Wow, see, it's got a lot in there. So we are talking about your book today, right? We
are, if we have any time after that.
I know, right? And I skipped a couple of things in there, I think.
Well, yeah, those are a lot of that has come lately because of a lot of help with our friend Tim Livingstone, with Matt Stoker helping, a lot to do with SoulWhat, promoting, helping us, and Tim helping promote my book, Eileen helping promote my book, all our friends helping. So, yeah, you, of course. So
very little me, probably. But this is the book, guys. We got a box of them yesterday and a box today, and then turn around and ordered another 3 cases yesterday morning.
3 cases, yeah.
Or 4 cases, something like that. 3 or 4 cases yesterday morning to come in. So since we have your book here, what are you going to tell us about your book? Tell us about it. What is it? Tell us about it.
Okay, so that's your question.
That's my question. Tell us about your book.
So the book is about how we manage our energy. I tried to write the book to people who maybe have never picked up a book on spiritual or metaphysical things. It started off as maybe people who have that would just sell to a store like Soultopia, but it ended up being one that I think will appeal to a much broader audience. And how, as it went through while I was writing it and editing it, actually during COVID, I didn't really refer to COVID during it. That was something we discussed. I discussed with the publisher whether or not I would. It just became evolved talking about connection and how we connect with one another and what we do when we feel like we don't want to connect with one another anymore and how we handle that energy and how we manage that energy. So that's really what it's about, and different ways to deal with that. Different ways, tools we can use to help us when we're absorbing energy that we don't want to absorb, how to protect from energy. But the fact of the matter is, most books stop there, and they don't teach us how to change the form of energy. So this book teaches us and goes through exercises step by step, from learning how energy feels and how to sense your energy, to learning how to change the form of energy into something that works for you, instead of having to worry about everyone else's energy and blame it on their energy or blame it on someone else all the time. You manage your own energy.
I like that. That sounds great. So, with this whole process of, like you said, you actually started this before COVID is even a thought. But where did the whole thought process come from for this book?
Well, I say it's kind of like a lifetime in the making, a couple of years in the writing. It came from, because the topic of empaths and empathy is in the book, or those topics are in the book. I would say it came from the fact that I deal with that a lot. I deal with how to manage my energy, what to do when I'm so upset in a situation that I can't seem to get out of it. I will spin around and around and around in my head. I'll be so worried about what someone else thinks. I'll be so worried about, or I'll be so mad about a situation, or I'll be so upset that, if Matt even looks at me funny, oh no, does he not like me? Or if you say something, and I'll take that energy on. And I know a lot of people do that, that are empaths. And then I'll try to be tough. And so it came from years of being that way and not knowing what to do with it. And so a lot of people defined what that would be. That would be an empath. But then people see them come through the doors of the store, and you would too, right? And they'd all say, what? I'm an empath.
Yep.
But they all wanted ways to protect themselves. And it was all a bunch of, I can't do this, I can't do that, I can't. And I wanted to find out ways that we can become like superheroes. I do a superhero journey, Joseph Campbell's hero's journey. I do a superhero's journey throughout the book of how we can learn to transmute that energy, literally use magic, and change the form of the energy. And so it came about because of what I went through, and then what I heard so many people in our store and people that I work with going through in their lives. And it was either they couldn't manage their own energy, or they were trying to manage everybody else's energy. So I wanted to talk about that.
Okay. Did through that process, did it get for your own self, how did it transition for yourself? Did you find your energy transitioning?
Yes. I think when you decide to write a book where you're talking about something that, especially when you're having exercises that you are working through from start to finish, you're going to have situations that are going to come up where you're tested in it. Like if you're going to say, this is how you do something, then you're going to have a chance to practice it, right?
Yeah.
Like daily. So it happened a lot. I would say it seemed like I'd be working on an exercise to say, okay, if someone cuts you off in traffic, that's a great way to start practicing. Well, immediately, that would happen in traffic. And so what am I going to do? Am I immediately going to go crazy and flip them off and go and ruin my whole day because I'm cutting them off and everything?
So me and Matt are wrong on this one. We're wrong, Matt.
So what do you
I
say,
have a feeling
Matt?
that wasn't the best response. But
But so some days I might go crazy. I've been known to go. I have a story from law school where I was in law school and I was studying for the bar, and somebody cut me off in traffic, and literally it's a miracle. We were talking about going to jail earlier. right? It's a miracle I didn't, because I really thought I'm going to run them off this overpass. It crossed my mind. I am just going to literally just run them off the overpass. I was that upset. Well, that would not be an ideal way to transmute that situation, right?
Right.
So you can take it from something, so that might not be even little. Maybe just something little, like you wake up and the coffee isn't ready, or it's, tastes bad, and change the energy. And how do we really, if energy never goes away, and it can only change form, right? It never goes, there's an unlimited amount, and it never goes away, it changes form. How can we actually do that? If all these people are saying that they are magical, and they're saying that a candle can do it, intention can do it, sage can do it, crystals can do it, then we can do it. But why are we not doing it? So I got tested in it a lot, and because you were around it.
Yeah. She's actually getting tested tonight, guys, because typically when you do like an interview like this, sometimes you throw a couple of questions at them before the interview to let them know, hey, these are the questions I'm going to ask.
You always do.
Yeah.
When
I
you're
made
nice,
all my
right, Matt?
questions up over here, guys.
There it
on
is.
my little
He didn't tell me any
and
of
Michelle
them.
doesn't know what any of these questions are, so wait till we get down to these really good ones, juicy ones in here.
I am curious. I don't know if this is on your list, Roger, but I am curious, in that scenario that you mentioned,
Yes.
like somebody cutting you off in traffic, what do you do? Like, obviously this takes practice, but what is, like, if this is my first time out and I've heard about your book or I've heard you speak and someone cuts me off in traffic or someone does something that bothers me, like,
Okay.
what is the first step for me to be like, I got to redirect this somehow?
Okay, that's a great question. So step one would be, and it might be, your step might be a little bit different, but step one for me would be literally, and I'm not kidding, take a breath. Okay, take a pause, because in that instant, I might have ran them off the road. Okay, right? Or off the overhead pass. But before you flip them off, or before you're ruining your day, you take a breath, and then, so they have sent energy at you, right? They have. They may have done it intentionally. They may have done it unintentionally, but it's affected your energy, right? It's pissed you off, right?
Yeah.
So then you've got to almost visualize what that looks like. Okay, what your anger or your irritation looks like, and literally begin to, and I walk through it in the book, literally the next step would be to, and you're driving and you're pissed, or you're going to, okay, I'm going to catch up to them, whatever your thing is, or you're mad, or you're going to flip them, I don't know, whatever that is. And you're going to visualize saying, okay, there's a lot of energy, and I could throw a lot of energy back at that, like energy wasted almost. I'm going to try to visualize that, turning that into something that I can use, like maybe I'm tired today. So I'm going to take that feisty energy, and I almost visualize, put it in my solar plexus, in my gut, and turning it into like something that's going to give me a little more vitality. Does that make any sense?
I think I'd have to practice on it a little
you
bit.
will.
Yeah. I have to give that a shot and just to see how it feels.
You will.
Yeah.
And that's why it really takes reading the book to know that it works, because step one is it's a lot of visualizing what you would do, okay? Because literally what them cutting you off and then your response to that, both of those things are energy, because everything is energy, if you believe that, okay? If we believe everything is energy, then the way we're thinking about it and then our response to it is energy. And so we can change that energy. It's not even the way we think, okay, now I'm going to be nice and I'm going to send loving thoughts to them. It's not just that. It's actually, I'm going to go even a step beyond it. Once you really change the form of it, you can almost, let's say they did it intentionally. You can say, thank you for that. Now I raise you this. Not that you're going to send back. This is where a lot of people will say, I'm going to send back this to them. I'm going to make sure they get their karma. Maybe they have a flat tire later today. No, we don't do that. It's not even because we're necessarily trying to be nice. It's because what we're doing, we're just taking that energy and go, okay, I see you. I raise you this. What I raise you is I'm going to take that energy and I'm going to turn it into something that will be positive for me, because energy is not really negative or positive. It's just what we think of it. So I'm going to take it, because it's surely an energetically charged situation. I'm going to turn it into something I can use.
Right.
But that's why the practices and the exercises in the book help you know how to turn that energy. That's the tricky part. And that's why you have to start off with something really simple. I hope that kind of answers the question.
Yeah, I think so.
It's not easy. I'm not going to
No,
tell
no.
anybody that it's easy. If it was easy, there'd be a lot of books on it, and we'd all be doing it,
Exactly.
right? But we say we do it, and so instead, what we're doing is we're lighting a candle to represent. Okay, I'm going to light this candle, or I'm going to pray that I'll be better in this, which is fine. We can use those tools to help us, but we can do all that stuff by ourselves, and so there's a lot of. The initial step, though, is to learn to different ways to visualize literally changing the form of the energy.
So, and I know in your book, because
Yeah.
you've talked about it, the exercises in your books, the
Right.
different ones, you have them after every chapter or
There's
so,
over
right?
50.
Over 50.
Which, just so you know, Matt, over 50 to get us there. Okay.
A lot of work there.
It's not a one-time
So
thing.
and I'm totally not there.
But
yet.
you build on those. Or each exercise
Yes.
builds on the previous one, correct?
Yes, correct.
Okay.
So, like the very first exercise is how you even sense energy. So, some people may have done the chi ball before, where you have energy. You hold your hands like this, and you can feel the energy between your hands. Some people have never done that before. So, the very
You ever
first
done that, Matt?
exercise is
I have not done that.
so
No.
you can
Okay.
literally put your hands close together, and you will start to, like those superhero movies. You will start, if you hold them close enough. Really conscious, you'll feel the zapping of the energy between them.
Okay.
Tell me when you do.
I'm doing it right now, folks. I don't know if I can.
Okay, so Matt's trying it.
That's where you build that chi
Everybody
ball up,
home,
and they
try
run you off
it.
the road, you blast
you-
them
And
with
then,
it.
Stop.
yeah, you just throw it
No,
at
but
them.
Yeah.
but there, everybody can do it. So I know eventually he'll feel it, and you're not imagining it. You will feel the energy and the heat.
I mean, that's what I feel is warmth.
Okay, you
Yeah.
will. Then you can
Yeah.
start spreading it further and further apart. You can even start forming it over time, and it's called a chi ball, which is life force. And you can do it with different people too. Then you can even throw it back and forth, like you and Megan practice at home. You can throw it back and forth between people. We've done
Yep.
it.
Yep.
We do it in class too. It's cool. So
Yeah,
it starts with that one, and it goes all the way up to all the ways you transmute energy in really difficult situations. Yeah. So it starts with that first one, which for some people, like I said, that right there, they've maybe not even never done that because they don't even know. If we don't even know how to sense energy, that doesn't mean anything bad. Like, okay, Matt, I can't believe you don't know how to, but a lot of people don't. Then we learn that first, because if we can't sense that energy, we've got to start there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So tell us about your writing process. How did that go for you?
Will you tell me?
She was up all night, writing all night, writing all day.
I do feel like I need to interview Roger at some point in here and just be like, what was the worst part about this whole process?
Well,
I don't want to start any
we
fights.
don't have enough time left.
Because I'm a bit neurotic, Matt. I mean, let's be honest. I'm a bit. I'm harder on myself. I'm very, very hard on myself. Nobody's talking. They don't want to say
We're all
anything.
agreeing, I think.
And so I'm afraid to even look in the book because,
Have you even looked in the book
I
yet?
have finally, because it said right at
The
the
book's
beginning.
been here for a week.
It finally, because you edit it so many times, but I've been told, if you've listened on to our podcast, we've had really great authors on here. Monty Farber, Amy Zerner, Ethany Benabel, so many people have done, whatever they've written or produced, no matter how much you try to be perfect, you'll open it and the first thing you'll see is an error, of some sort. So I'm a little afraid to do it. And then you also are putting yourself out there to make yourself very vulnerable. You're naked in front of the world of what you're putting out there. And, somebody wrote to me, they said, I'm ready. I'm so excited to see your soul. And I was like, oh. Shit. I'm not so, that's really, I just spit and they just so much. I'm so excited to see my soul. I'm not sure you're going to see that. I'm sure that you're going to maybe see, but I tried to listen to Llewellyn because they're experts. They have the best editors. They have the best, they're some of the best in the business. And so I listened to what they said, that. And so I think it got almost rewritten on the second go round because I got a lot of this, Matt, I got a lot of this. Watch your tone.
Oh.
Yeah. So
What were you doing? What were you saying?
a lot of that other people hadn't. That this, you want to say it?
No, you say
Like,
it.
why
It's your
didn't
book.
anybody ever said this before?
Oh,
you know, why
yeah,
are they
yeah.
telling us they're doing this when they're not doing it?
Yeah, yeah.
You know, so it was a little judgy, maybe a little preachy, a little. And I don't want to be judgy or preachy because that's the very thing that. So it was watch your tone, being a little harsh
Yeah.
at times. Yeah, I think that. So my writing process was I had a lot of help editing because, you know, when you're writing it, and then I write free flow too. I'll be like, I kind of write like I talk. Well, if you're like certain people, you know, you can get away with that because you're just eloquent. But I also learned to write like a lawyer. And so the first draft was very lawyerly. And that's not how, and I write old lawyer school, old way, which was a lot of furthermore, heretofores, and people don't even write lawyerly like that anymore.
Yeah.
That's not how even lawyers write anymore. My daughter's in law school, and they tell her not to write that way. I've said this before, and she's like, well, that's how I grew up in my house. I had two parents for lawyers, and that's how we talked. And so I had to get rid of a lot of that, you know.
Gotcha.
So my process was, well, you know, I'm writing more now. So
Yeah.
I tell you what, I love to read, and I learned that writing is not the same as reading. Just because I'm a great reader and love and appreciate all these great authors does not necessarily make it easy to write and get your thoughts down. And then when you get your thoughts down, you do need to think about who's your audience and who's going to read this. And then you also have to be prepared for the people who aren't going to like what you have to say. Because they're going to be those people that, you know, don't jive with that.
Yeah.
But I don't want to hear about it. If that's you. I'm kidding.
Keep it to yourself.
So,
Exactly.
yeah, just
Mind
don't
your-
be too mean.
mind your
because
own energy.
I haven't gotten to that chapter on transmutation yet. It's in there, but I haven't conquered that one.
So during this process with the editing and everything, did you edit anything out that you wish you had kept in, and what was that?
Well, I wish you'd told me this question because it's a very good question. Did I edit? Do you remember anything that I took out that?
No.
Probably parts about
your
you
question, not
and
my
Matt.
question.
No. You know, you always get permission. I have very good editors, the publishers, that anything that's in your book, you're getting permission from anybody you're talking about in your book, or you know, stories you're telling. You get permission, releases, and so I don't feel uncomfortable. My only thing that I think I edited out was I took out all my thank yous to everybody, and I made them very broad. So instead of all this long 2-page list of thank yous to everyone and specific names, Roger's not even named. It's thank
What
you to
the
my.
hell?
You're not. It's thank you to my
Jesus.
family for being there for me. Thank you to my publisher. Thank you to, and I said because that's every empath's nightmare, is to that would keep me up at night that I left someone out.
Yeah.
That would hurt me that I hurt somebody else.
Yeah.
And so that's one thing is I wonder, oh no, you know, is somebody being upset because I didn't put their name in the book?
Mm-hmm.
You know, so I went
makes
really
sense.
broad with it, and he knew that already, just so y'all know. But I think also maybe also leaving out some of the stories that, I don't know, I'll have to think about it. It's a good question.
All right. So what was your writing kryptonite during this process?
Oh. Well,
You just rambled on, wrote everything?
so you mean my kryptonite, the thing that like kills me?
Yeah.
You?
What did I do?
I'm kidding.
I'm a good distraction.
I just got stuck. Okay, y'all, I'm kind of falling apart. And Matt, you're going to have to edit this one.
Oh, okay.
No, I'm kidding. We don't edit on here. We just like, it's
Just
pure
go with it.
whatever.
It is
But
what it
I
is.
will
We just
say
go.
that my hair's stuck to the back of this chair. Well, I'm glad it happened because you know what? That's the thing. Everybody wants everybody to be so polished, and in this world, it seems like so perfect, so polished, and that's just not always me. I remember trying cases where literally I'd be in front of the jury, and literally I was like 24 years old. I'd be trying cases in downtown Dallas, and I remember one day I had this is not your question, but I had like a thing hold my hair and went flying across the courtroom. And I just went, oh, well, there's that. And then another day where I was eating with a bunch of men, one of the first, as an intern at a law firm dinner. And you know the story, right? And I'm cutting the meat, and I, you know how you're cutting like a really tough, like roast beef or something? And it shot across the table, the round table of like 12 people, and it hit the main partners, and they all have their coats off, right? Their jackets, and they have on their white button downs, and it hit him like right here with gravy and all. And I went, bullseye, because what do you say? Yeah, I just went bullseye and laughed. And that's the thing. I guess my kryptonite is feeling that I have to be something for somebody else so that I will be, it makes me tear up a little bit, be perfect. If I accidentally spit while we're talking, and I did that to a jury one time, when you say my last name legally is Sheaf, and when you say that, it's a little bit hard to say. Or when you're on here and you're not perfect. When you're not perfect in life and you're not perfect with people in your life and that you're connecting with, the biggest thing you can do to transmute that energy and to turn it around is just laugh. And, we're having Matthew McConaughey on the show next week, and that's one of the things he says in his book. The biggest thing that will heal people and bring people together is just humor.
Yep.
So I think my kryptonite sometimes is just not being able to laugh at situations, and I just worry about it too much, right? Would you say that's true?
Yes, I have to continually tell her, put it in the fuck it bucket. Can we repeat that? Put it in the fuck it bucket.
The other thing would be that I spent a lot of time on what's called epitaphs. Those are at the beginning of your, at the beginning of your paragraph. I spent a lot of time on those. A lot of time was spent on those with really great quotes, but Llewellyn is so good at making sure that you give credit where credit is due always, that you had to have citation page. Everything was during COVID. And so I still, obviously, and I couldn't really always get the exact page. And, of course, you want to be exactly honest about that and all that. So I couldn't know exactly. And there's a lot of quotes that are attributed to the wrong people. It wasn't Einstein who said everything is energy. And you have people writing books who will say that. And they're misquoting that. Somebody quoted Einstein as saying that. So it's a quote of a quote, quote, blah, 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 blah. And so that was another kryptonite of mine because I ended up saying, screw it, just take all them out. I think I have like 2 of those in the book for part 1 and
Because
part
you actually
2.
had it in every paragraph. Every chapter you had one.
And then finally it was like, and then you find out, who am I really quoting? And now I need to go do some research on them, because what if I'm quoting somebody who, it's a really good quote, but then you look at maybe what they stand for, and it's not anything you really want to quote.
Yeah.
So that was an issue too.
So you had quotes from Tesla in there. I don't know if you left those or not. I don't remember.
Well, there's a whole section on Tesla.
So I actually made her watch the movie.
Oh, which one?
Current War.
Yeah, I watched that recently. It's very good.
So there's actually it's not a quote. It's actually that Tesla can be one of your, believe it or not, an ascended master. People think of, the ascended masters have to be Buddha, or they have to be, Jesus, and that's no offense to Jesus or Buddha, but ascended masters can also be people who work with you in who've passed on, who are really great at something that you're doing. Like Walt Disney could be an ascended master. So they could work with you on those things. So Tesla, I have and I call them sidekicks in the book, which I also say, don't get all bent out of shape because I'm calling, somebody a sidekick, but we're the superheroes and they're the sidekicks because they're coming along beside us to help us. And if you worship that particular deity, it's no offense, fine, call them that. But in this case, Tesla would be a sidekick potentially to help you come along to learn to transmute a particular kind of energy.
So I noticed that you have your RGB shirt on. Would you call RGB a sidekick?
For me, I'd call RGB. Well, see, it's RBG. Yeah, I would call her a god. I would worship her. No, I would.
Well, at this one, I got on Willie. No.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, I would call, and Austin, there you go. I would call her, yes, and hopefully an ascended master, a lot of things. I think she was a pretty an amazing woman.
That's cool. That's cool. So with your process of writing, I do realize, because living with you through this process, there was you have like your writing process, and then you have like you're kind of waiting on somebody. But time period, give us a time period. How long did it take you to put all this together? How long did you really spend on it?
A long time. You mean hours or?
Years?
Yeah,
Months?
years.
Days?
Yes.
I mean, I know you've been working on it for over a year now, and it just hit. Like I said, we got copies yesterday and today.
So it was submitted, I guess, but I mean, it depends on which part you're talking about, because I mean, the learning of a lot of the stuff that's in the book has been many, many, many years, but the putting the actual hard, like, day to day, I mean, it was a year straight,
Yeah.
wouldn't you say?
Yeah, over.
I mean, there were times where you're waiting to get the book back, you know, and I tried to meet my deadlines. I think there was one where I was like maybe a week late, or I asked for a little
You
extension.
asked for an extension, yeah.
Yeah, when COVID first happened, when we got back from Portland, but they were great about it.
Yeah.
What was the longest time you spent writing in one session? Do you remember? Like
Just sitting down and
Yeah.
writing. Oh boy.
several hours?
Oh, more than that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe 12.
So
Wow.
she's not getting real on this one. Let me throw it out here for you guys. I would come home and she'd be sitting there with stacks of books around her where she's researching and looking at this and double checking this and double checking that, and has her laptop over there. She'd been sitting there for like 12 hours straight without getting up.
Yeah. I worked hard.
Yeah.
But it's hard to see it, because when you get it, I mean, this is over 50,000 words. So when you get, and then you see it and you think, wow, I could do that. That's so easy. And I mean, I've done that with books. I've seen them and I'm like, oh yeah, I could whip that together in no time. It's harder than you think.
Yeah.
You know, it takes a lot of work, and it takes a lot of really good people working with you to do it. And fortunately had, like I said, the best in the business doing it. From Angela Wicks, the acquisitions editor, all the way, I mean, the whole team is they're just the best people. So I was really fortunate.
Yeah.
You know.
And
So
and you are published, but it's published by Llewellyn Worldwide, okay, which has been around since like 1901, guys. How did that process happen? How did you? Because that's, a lot of people want to write a book, but they don't even have a clue of how to even get it started. Much less get it on paper and get it put together. But that process is not writing the book's part of it. It's actually getting it published is a whole different part. How did that work out for you?
So I think I answered that today to somebody. I think the biggest thing to decide if you want to self-publish or publish, the first thing you need to decide is, what's your goal? What's your goal if you, so that's a whole nother question, but if you're going to self-publish or decide to try to submit it to a publisher, is, what is your goal with what you're trying to do? Because, if you want to retain every decision making and you want to do everything yourself, and you're sure, this is all going to be about, you're going to make a whole lot of money off of this, and that's your whole goal, and you want it all to yourself, then, go for it and self-publish. That was never my goal. I knew I wanted to go with one of the best publishers. There's several very good ones in this business, and I knew. And so then you would, just look them up, and they have a process, and you go to the bottom of their website, and they have a way you submit your proposal, and you follow that. You follow the way, and you send in your information, and I would suggest you really follow what they say to do. You don't just kind of email them and say, I have an idea for a book. You send in 3 chapters already written, and realize that the title of your book may change, and they will know better than you. My title was a different title, and their title is 100% better than my title was going to be, and it's much more magical. I had ideas for the cover of my book, and they did let me have input, but not everybody will let you have input because they are the experts. They know what they're doing, right?
Yeah.
So I was really fortunate that they got back to me really quickly, and I was really fortunate too to have Benabelle Wynn write the foreword, who is a best-selling author. She has so many people who adore her. She's brilliant. She's a patent attorney, an IP attorney licensed in both California and in New York. Hopefully, we can get her to move to Texas because, man, she just all 3 of the best bars, and
Yep.
and she's brilliant, and she helped me a lot. Ethany, just Madame Pamita, Olive, Monty, just so many people. That's why I just can't name them all. And gave me, but Benabelle, when you read her foreword, I mean, it's just so intelligent and so brilliant, and it's worth the price of the book just to read her foreword because it's so good. Yeah.
Very cool. Very nice. So when you finished the book, I remember you had it was like a ream of paper. She had it printed out, Matt. It was like a ream of paper, that when she finished it, the first part of it, and with a big old clip on it. How'd you celebrate?
I can't remember. I was tired. How did I?
Sleep. Yeah.
Did I? Is that what I did? I was tired.
No. She was writing on it. She's writing on it. The cover, I forget what you wrote, my finished product or something, and then she's calling people.
It's a big deal. I mean, you're very proud of it, as proud of it as you are. I've said it before, I will never go back to being rude about people who, as a reader of books, there are people who are so rude to authors. They're just so, I think that maybe one of the qualifications to be so rude to authors is maybe to write a book, because it's the same as writing a paper. It's different. I've written papers. I've written, I went to law school. I've tried cases. I've put together cases. I've written briefs. I've written briefs for, Court of Appeals. I worked for the Court of Appeals. I've written books, opinions that have ended up in, they're in the law books, but it's quite an accomplishment. I'd tell everybody to do it if it's something you want to do, and stop talking about it and just do it. Just start writing and just do it. But how to celebrate? I can't even remember. I did probably just sleep.
Yeah.
I didn't drink because I just don't even drink that much. I kind of wish I could sometimes. I kind of wish I could I probably had a sweet tea or something. I don't know.
Probably.
Yeah. So that's probably my celebration.
We probably went to the diner.
I'm really boring now. Or eat old people food.
Tonight it was Norma's. This episode is brought to you by Norma's.
Good pie over at Norma's.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah. I had chocolate cream pie the other
left
night.
my tea in the car. So yeah.
I'm curious. When it comes to anything creative, I try to live by the mantra of don't let perfect be the enemy of good. Meaning, you can spend forever doing something and never feel like you have it perfect and feel like you have to work on it forever. And I would say this to anybody that's thinking about either writing a book or getting started on a podcast or something like that. So was that a struggle for you to be like, look, this is not exactly how I want it, but I've got a deadline to hit, or I've got people waiting on this, or there are other people who are going to take a look at this and who are going to give me notes and get back to me? Was that hard to let that go, or did you embrace that? Because I think eventually now, for me at least, I'm happy to be like, this is good enough. Let's get this out there and go on to the next thing.
I 100% agree with you, and I'm glad you said it but you are you are more accomplished than I am in the process. Okay, I would say you're kind of where, you know, Monty and Amy are with being able to release it. It's still I'm still a little new to being able to release it. It was helpful to me, I think, because I did have the deadlines. Because I do believe in the commitments, you know, and keeping the commitments. And because you have those, and having the friends who would say, look, Michelle, it's just like the new car. The minute you get it, there's going to be a scratch on it. Just accept that, get it over with, right?
Yeah.
But what you just said and how you said it, I couldn't have said it better myself. I think, what was the quote you said?
Don't let perfect be the enemy of good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would have worked on it forever. And I have friends who are like that they keep rewriting and they keep redoing it. And even with businesses, I think that if we had done that with Soultopia, we never would have started.
No.
If we had known what we were getting ourselves into, right?
Because you got to be flexible with change and everything into it.
Right.
And be able to do it and, you know, and just accept the things and get going, first of all. Just got to get it going and accept what happens. It just happens.
You just have to start sometimes. I mean, you need to do your due diligence. You need to be prepared. You need to, all that kind of stuff. But at some point, you have to say, I'm ready. This is good enough. This is, you know, it's never going to be perfect, like you said. And so, yeah, there's going to be, I'm a little, you know, you get a little scared. Does that make sense? It's just a little like, so I don't know that maybe the next one I'll be a little closer to book-wise. I'm not getting there yet, but I'm getting there with like business to where I can go, okay, maybe other people don't understand it, but I understand that, yeah, not everything is because somebody will come in and criticize or, oh, I would do it this way, or, you know, and I'm thinking, yeah, but you don't do it, so you don't know, right?
Yeah.
So
I got a great answer
agree.
for that one.
What?
I got a
I
great
know
answer.
you do, but you know, and you're just better at that.
If you want to tell me how to do something, that's fine. Pick up one of the bills and pay it.
Well, yeah, but I think for you, Matt, as a Capricorn, right?
Yeah.
That's harder for you to be that way. So I'm surprised you're that way.
Well, it is, and it's taken a lot of. I think it's taken just a lot of perspective. Like I look back on things that I did that at the time I thought this is exactly perfect. You know, this is exactly what I wanted, and I listened back to it. I mean, you may be talking about something that's 20 years old, like stuff I was doing in college radio or whatever, and I thought I was just killing it, and I listened back to it, and I'm like, this is terrible.
Yeah.
So I think that perspective helped me to say. That's fine that I felt that way at the time, but I can see here that I'm always on a continuum, and I'm always getting better and better and better. And I don't necessarily wish this for you, but I think there will probably be a time on down the line if you write more and more books that you maybe look back at this one and be like, I can see the mistakes that I made and I've gotten better. But that doesn't mean this one's bad. It just means that I have improved.
Right.
So I think having that perspective has taught me. To be okay with putting something out that maybe I don't feel is absolutely perfect, but I know that it's just another step along the way.
I agree. And even when we do the podcast, because Matt will know, and Matt knows, like he has to say it to me a little bit gently, but I do look back. I do rewatch, and I know people who don't watch themselves. They won't watch their podcasts. They don't. And I don't watch it to go, oh, how great I was. I literally, everything I'm on, I'm going, I really messed up here. I mean, I'm trying to improve, right?
Yeah.
So it's not to be perfect, but it's just to say, this is where we could get better. Because this is not, I just think that's, so in that regard, I do like to learn. I like to get better, because I don't think I've ever, like, arrived. But, so that on that, I do totally agree. And I'm glad that I'm willing to and you know, sometimes I think I'm just naive. I'm going to even just say, nope, some people don't like this word, but just stupid enough. I'm just being honest. I don't mean it so derogatory, but really silly, naive enough to not know what I just did is going to bring maybe a lot of stuff down on me. like, a lot of potential criticism, or opened me up to a lot of whatever. Opening up the store brought a lot of stuff in my life that, and it's brought a lot of blessings, but it's not perfect. We're improving it all the time. So I think that's a great point.
Yeah.
But I'm always learning because, I messed a lot of stuff up.
She will actually listen to this episode tonight before we get home tonight.
I'll be like, I can't believe I did that. I can't believe I did that.
And I'll get why did you say that?
I think it's been pretty good so far.
He rubs it in. I can't believe that part where you did that, so.
What did you say?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're good, though. You're doing a great job.
Yeah, I'm getting, sometimes.
You
want me to
actually
be serious?
prepared.
When you want me to be
Prepared. I
serious
said
about
he's
something.
prepared.
So tell us what you're working on now.
No, I'm kidding. Getting my tooth fixed. Going to the dentist.
She cracked
Yeah.
a tooth yesterday,
I
guys.
think in the back, we were talking about it. Well, I was eating Chinese food. Which
We
is,
went to dinner
why do you eat
last
Chinese?
night and-
It's really good Chinese food. So
Yeah.
it's not, that wasn't the place. The Chinese food was great. I don't, there's 4 books at once. And then, I really want to do a tour. There's
Matt's
4.
eyes got about this big, guys. He was like, what the
There
fuck
are.
is she
There
talking
are
about? 4 books at one
There are
time?
4 that I've been writing, and so I'm trying to decide which proposal. And they tell me, well, we've had people turn in more than one, so I'm not going to write 4 and do them all at once. But I'm going to turn in maybe 2 or 3 proposals and see if they like any of those. And then also, with a couple people, I have one oracle deck and one, I can't say who, but there's a couple, both of them really exciting. They know who they are. And one is, we think it's going to be, we think we're going to do an oracle deck on that one too. I'll write on that one on both of them, because I can't, I'm,
You'll know it's the deck because it'll have stick figures in for the
if I
drawings.
drew it, it would be definitely, no.
Stick figures.
Yeah.
I think that would be an interesting design, the stick figure.
I
for
think
a-
they've done
yeah.
that actually. So it wouldn't be my
Probably.
original stick
Oh, well.
figures. It'd have to be. So that I'm working on those, and just a lot of stuff here. Because we've been busy, right?
Yeah. So, and you really just started promoting this stuff in like the last 2, 3, 4 weeks, 4 weeks probably. Really, I know this has probably been your number 1 interview that you've had
It is.
so far.
It's been the
But,
best.
So, since you've been kind of doing some of the interviews, some of the online, Jenny McCarthy show, Good Morning Texas, things like that, what really jumped out at you? You really had fun at?
This one.
No, that's a lie. Because Matt and I didn't embarrass you yet. That's why.
That's true.
Oh, you can embarrass me. I'm not as nervous on this one, although I am actually a little bit nervous. I would say, well, I want Matt to be at every one of them, though. You do a great job. It just made me a little bit nervous on Good Morning Texas when we had the countdown
That
10,
wasn't my fault.
9, 8, and Spectrum. Yeah, my connectivity went out. I was, whoo.
Matt said their whole building was out from Spectrum yesterday.
true.
My eyes
That's true.
twitching. It literally just started twitching again. I think it has not stopped twitching since
But you got it done.
it happened. Okay,
Yep. I got it back
and
on,
it
didn't
was
I?
actually not the ceiling that was showing, because literally when he lifted it and went like this and turned it around, they said, "Hi, Michelle." And so I didn't know what was going to be shown. We really didn't know what was going to be on there, did we? I mean, you were amazing. That one was probably the most exciting, just because it was like the scariest ride at an amusement park you've ever, because of what happened beforehand. They're the nicest people, but what was happening here was so scary.
Yeah, I just had to finally tell her, chill it. Give me
Yeah,
a
he
minute.
did. He was just like basically just, and I was like, I mean, I was just like trying to breathe.
I'm like, read your book.
Yeah, he did. He goes, practice what's in that book. That's what he said to me. Practice what's in that book. I was like, I don't think it has a chapter on the internet going out right before you go. The most interesting, well, there a lot of them are just now giving me a chance to talk about the book. We've talked a lot about the store,
Yeah.
which has been wonderful. So I appreciate tonight being able to really talk about the book. But Jenny McCarthy really, I mean, they've all been really nice, but Jenny McCarthy really gave me. She had read, you know, she was interested. You can tell she cares about this, and her show went off the air. I don't know if y'all know that. She stopped, and I'm not sure why. So I really want to get her on this show, see if she'll come on. And but she just was really into it, you know. So not to compare to anybody else's, but it was just she, you know, she really cares about the topic a lot. So I mean, but I'm just really getting started on the interviews on the book, because a lot of the things that we've been doing are, you know, kind of because the news has been, when CBS came, the lady said, I think I've said this on here before, what a year when they talk about, you know, everything, when you've had, the Pentagon admits that you've had aliens, but that's not your top news story every single day. That's not your headliner.
Yeah.
You know, and
I think it was such a crazy ordeal of the year. I thought that was fake too.
maybe. I mean,
They didn't realize it was real.
but I think it just came up again, though. You guys, I mean, they brought it up again.
They did.
Did you know that, Matt?
Oh no, I don't know that I've seen that.
Yeah.
I need to look
It
that
was,
up.
I think, in the last week they said it again, and people are still not talking about it.
Oh my gosh.
It's like, okay.
They're picking some good times, some very tumultuous times to release this information.
Yeah, right?
It's probably one of those things they just, you know, little seeds out here and there, and then finally they just show up one day
Yep.
on TV. Hi, we're here.
We've been telling you.
We've been telling you, and today we are here to give you the news from Venus.
Yeah, right. Matt, you're going to do that one. We're going to see Matt reporting to you from Venus. Where's Matt? He's not at Soultopia. Where is he tonight?
Let's book a Venetian on the on the podcast.
Yeah, let's do
exactly.
it. But it's been, so we've got a lot more planned of podcasts I'm going to be on that coming up. I'm going to be on Ask the Oracles again. That one, I really enjoyed being on Ask the Oracles. I wasn't really talking about my book so much, but, you know, they've all been really nice about mentioning the book. So
Yeah, well, that's good.
Yeah.
That's good. So I know yesterday Carlton was on Instagram, and he was doing some of the practice things with your practice readings with your book, with
Right.
the cards, right?
Right.
You want to tell us about that and how it works?
Well, yeah. So there's several in the book. There's different chapters on different things. One of the tools you can use is tarot. Okay, you can use candles, crystals, all kinds of things. One of them is tarot. So I thought I could show you. Actually, Llewellyn, there was a blog, and then I did a video the other day about it. But one I will show you. It's not exactly. Well, let me just say it. The book has you do 3 cards, I think, from what I recall from it, because there's a lot of different versions of how you can do it. So we all absorb energy. We can deflect energy and protect from energy, and then how do you change it? Like we were talking about. How do you change? So I would say think of an issue that's going on in your life. Anything. It could be health. It can be somebody you're upset with. It can be work. It can be, but it's something you want to change the energy of. Okay, so it's something that maybe you wanted to change it a little bit, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so can you think of something? Can everybody kind of think of something? Does everybody? I mean,
Sure.
If everything's perfect in your life, then, you know, it might not be, but probably everybody have something. If not, then it could just be world peace. Okay, what could you do for that, right? And you're in a very good place in your life. But we all have something we could be working on, right?
Yep.
So this is what I'm thinking. So I did a flip card one. There are transmutation cards in your deck. So and the book will talk about this, and you'll need to get the book to know all the transmutation cards. But certain cards transmutation is basically change. Okay, it's magic, but it's how you change something. Okay, so cards that help you change are like the death card, right? That'd be the ultimate one. So you're changing the form of something. You're transitioning from one thing to the other. Another one would be the magician. Another one would be the chariot. You're driving through something. The tower card, right?
Yeah.
So you could just but let's just say we're going to use the death card. All right. So you could take your, this is not the ones I don't think he did, but you could take your cards and you could just shuffle them. And let's say we're going to look for the death card and we've got your issue in mind, right? And do you want me to show how to do it? Okay. And while I'm doing this, do you want to tell them about the launch and the...
So it's actually the 15th. The book, technically, the release date is this Friday, okay, the January the 8th.
Well, they're already out, though.
But they're already out. But on the 15th, we're going to have a live launch here, okay? So you can come in, get Michelle to sign your book for you, pick your book up if you want to, all those good things. I think you're going to do a little quick reading, just a little bit about it, maybe something going on around here even. And that'll be from 7:30 to 9:30. Not this Friday, the following Friday, okay, which is January the 15th.
Because of COVID stuff.
Yeah, you need to RSVP. The RSVP address you need to send your RSVP to is ashley@soultopia.guru. It's ASHLIE at soultopia.guru. Ashley@soultopia.guru. And then that following Monday, we're actually going to live on Instagram, Facebook, and put it out there for everybody as a launch virtual. Okay, you're going to kind of do some of the same things, talk a little bit about your book, and actually a little reading on your book, those good things, right?
Right.
And
And
so that
we're going to do Zoom/Facebook. We're still working
Zoom,
through
we're trying to
exactly
figure out.
how
It's
to
going
do
to,
it.
yeah, we want to get as many people out there, and if you can want to ask questions, you can, all that good stuff, right? Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah. Okay. So you have your idea in mind, right? Your issue. Everybody got your issue? You don't have to tell me. Does everybody have their
Got it.
issue? Okay. Something you want to. And in the board, in the book, we talk a lot about cords of connection. I say don't. I'm not an advocate of cutting cords. I'm an advocate of healing cords. You don't have time to talk about all that tonight. But for those of you who already know what that means, you know, we're all one. We're all connected. And so instead of cutting everybody out of your life, it doesn't mean they have to be your best friend. Yes, you can still set boundaries. But if that's the issue, how are you going to heal your part of it and manage your energy, your part of that situation, instead of always putting it all off on them? That's something I have to work with a lot too. Okay. So I got to the point in the deck. I was flipping through. Did y'all see? Flipping while he was talking, and I got to the death card. Now, again, you can use any card to represent your issue. Any cards you decide that this is my issue, that I'm going to use this as a transmutation card. I'm going to put that in the middle, okay?
Okay.
So I'm using that, and I have my issue. And then you're going to take the card before it, that was right before it as you were flipping, and you're going to put it to the left. Mine happens to be the Four of Cups.
Okay.
And then I'm going to take the card that was right after it, and I'm going to put it to the right of it. And it happens to be the Queen of Pentacles. All right, so pretty easy, right?
Yep, yep.
Okay, so then that's a way, just another way to get your cards out there as opposed to just laying out 3 cards. It's just an interesting way to do it. Kind of, we learned that, a lot of people do that with Lenormand cards, right? So then you would go, the card on your left is going to be the card, how you are absorbing the energy in the situation. So let's say, can you tell me your situation, Roger?
Time management.
Okay, so Roger is having a problem with time management. So he is... The card on his left is going to be about his absorbing. What is he absorbing? So this guy, the Four of Cups, y'all can help me read. Matt, he is sitting. These cards are a little bit light.
That's good to know.
Yeah, he's sitting under the tree, and he's kind of chilling, right? So what are you absorbing, Roger? Can you help me read your situation? What's the energy you're absorbing?
Too many things around you.
Okay.
Too much focus going on around.
But you're almost turning them out.
Yeah.
So you're absorbing a lot of stuff, but you're not really. They're here. There's something coming in, right? On the Four of Cups, we know this. It's coming in, and you're really just sort of oblivious to it.
Yep.
So that could really help you. So, but what you're absorbing is. I'm gonna just say, for me, I'm getting. Absorbing almost a little bit of kind of shutting down. Okay, some energy of it's almost overwhelming you.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
Would you say that's true?
Okay.
So the time management, some stuff's overwhelming you. So you might need somebody to help you with that time management.
Gotcha.
You know, it wouldn't be me because I'm not good at that. Okay, so You've got people here to help you with that. So then you go to the right. How do you protect or deflect in that situation? So what are you doing? Now, you could put it any way. You could say, am I protecting? Now, these are things like if it was a situation where somebody's been mean to me, okay, like at work, they're just rude. They just don't treat me right. Then what energy are you absorbing? And then how can you protect or deflect that? Or are you not? That's what you're going to read. And we're up against the clock, so I'm going to go through this fast. So it's the Queen of Pentacles.
Okay.
Okay, so this can be a person or an energy. So this could be how are you going to protect or deflect against it? This could be Soultopia. This could be me. This could be, protection, getting some help, a tool of protection, or someone to help you, like we already talked about it, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So, and I'm going through this really fast, but this is how you do it. And then you take the big part of it is we all already do all that stuff. We already use crystals. We already use all our tools. We already know we absorb. A lot of people will say, okay, I don't absorb energy because I know how to protect. That's BS. Everybody absorbs energy because we're all one. So if you don't think you absorb energy from what's going on across the world, it's not true. You do, because we're all one.
Yeah.
Okay. So then you look at you take your transmutation card that is your issue. So you might have chosen something about time, okay, to help you. But since it's the death card, you would take that card and then you turn it into, how does this card now become the card of how I change the energy?
Yeah.
Okay. Do y'all get what I'm saying? So how would I take, and this one looks like they're just worn out. Okay. And we know you have diabetes, right? So how would I take this and take it and stop being so worn out and ask for more help and change that energy into something I can use? Does that make sense to you? Okay. With a short time. I'm not giving a really thorough reading here.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So that's how you would do the flip, absorbing, deflecting. And so these are levels of handling. And let me tell you something. They're in a cycle usually. When I usually draw them, they're in a circle because it's not like a ascension, like, once you learn to transmute energy, you've arrived. So, Matt, once you learn to not, get mad at the other person, it doesn't mean, okay, now we've arrived because we transmute energy, because there may be another situation where we're still learning, we're still absorbing. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So we're going to be at any level at any times because it's cyclical. It's not like it's a journey, that kind of thing. It's not like, okay, once we get here, we're done.
Right.
And that's what the book talks about.
Okay.
And so you use all the different kind of tools. If you don't like tarot cards, then you don't use those. If you don't even believe in using tarot cards, then you don't use those. You use something else, right? In the book.
Right.
It gives you all kinds of tools to use, affirmations, all kinds of different things you can use.
Okay. That's cool.
Yeah.
I like that.
So that's
Makes
how,
life easy.
Yeah. So we'll do these at the opening. We'll have some little wrapped treats and little things as champagne. They're really cute. We're going to have for everybody, and readings that will be much more thorough, and you'll really see how it works because our time is over, and we will sign the books, y'all.
Yeah.
So
I can even sign the book too if you want me to.
yeah,
I'm not sure what it'll do for you, but I can scribble something in there.
that'd be great.
To my biggest fan. That's what I'll put in there. Yeah.
Thank you.
Well, thank you. Thank you for.
Did you get through all
book.
your questions?
I did. Did
That's
you want me to put
awesome.
more?
No, I thought you did a great job.
I had more.
Now,
Over there.
everybody's going to be excited. Next week, we have Matthew McConaughey on. He will not be here, you guys. So do not be knocking down the doors of Soultopia and lining up. He will be remote with us, right?
Correct.
So please, people have been asking. But if you want to come
It's like-
shop during
yeah.
the day, that would be great.
That's right.
Okay.
Support the local places that Matthew likes.
So anyway, thank you guys so much for joining us tonight. Thank you, Matt, as always, for being our producer. And if you would, just like us on all of our platforms, our social media platforms, like us, follow us, set off the notifications, share it, you guys, and please support and buy my book. That would be great.
Come get it.
And
you can also purchase it Actually, we even have a website for Michelle. It's michellewelch.com.
Yeah, we're
And you
working
can even
on
go
that.
in there, and the links do work on michellewelch.com to actually purchase the books.
That's good to know.
Yep.
So anyway, thank you so much for joining us on SoulWhat, where we discuss matters that matter to our soul, and you think about, discern, decide about matters that matter to your soul.
Yep.
Talk to you later.
Good night, guys.